You're listening to Who Would Have Thought, a motivational podcast that shares self-improvement strategies that will help you set goals, create action plans, and succeed.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Who Would Have Thought with your host Raman, that's me. On today's episode, we'll be talking about one of my new favorite authors, Mel Robbins. So I recently, or not recently, it's been a few months now, but I recently read two of her books that I really loved, and one of them I really want to touch base on. It's called The 5-Second Rule, and there's another book called The High Five Rule, which I'll also touch base on just quickly, but these two methods that she talks about in this book are like, honestly, I didn't know what the books would truly be about. Like when I heard the high five rule, I thought it was going to be like the top 5 rules or something like that, but it's literally like high five. Since I mentioned that, I'll start touching base on that first. So the high five rule, which was not what I thought it was going to be about, it was about giving yourself a high five. So she talks about how high fives are associated with like a positive emotion. So think about it. We give people high fives when they've done a good job, whether it's like like in your whole life. Every time you give a high five to somebody, it's associated with a positive emotion. It's like, good job, you did great. It's a sense of like accomplishment, achievement. And that's what our brain has associated high fives with our whole entire life. Like she was talking about how it's almost impossible to think about a negative thought. So obviously I tried to think about like a negative thought, and obviously you can think about a negative thought when you try really hard, but it's almost like impossible to associate a negative thought with high fives because we've just this is how we've been raised. So she talks about that we should high five ourselves in the mirror. You high five other people your whole life, but you never think about high fiving yourself, and not like this kind of high five where you just kind of clap your hands together, not that kind of high five, but physically giving yourself a high five in the mirror. And why do you do it in the mirror, and why can't you just kind of like clap and give yourself a high five, is because when we give high fives to other people, we like look at them and we physically, it's kind of like a connection between two people. So when you high five yourself in the mirror, you're looking at yourself and you're associating yourself with a positive emotion. You're thinking like, good job, like you did this. So I started, she was like, try this out, like high five yourself. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try this. Like, this can't be weird. Like, I'm going to high five myself. So of course I high fived myself, and you know what? Like, I remember thinking in my head, like the words that I was thinking in my head was like, good job, Raman. Like, you did good today. So I was associating myself with a positive emotion. Do I high five myself every day? No. But she does recommend that could be something that's like a daily routine. I think I just didn't high five myself daily because like I forget. Like I literally need a sticky reminder on my mirror or something that would say like high five yourself, so I can like remember to do that every day. And yes, I do have to put sticky notes around places in my room and my house to remember things. But yeah, like you can, and she talked about how it's made such a change in her life and so many other people's life. So I think that's something that's really great, that we don't give ourselves enough credit, and we don't associate positive emotions like these with ourselves enough. So I definitely think like, if you are kind of like, okay, I don't kind of give myself credit, or I don't, appreciate myself enough, like this is something great that you can start doing, because I still do it here and there when I'm like, okay, you know what, like good job, Rami, like you kicked ass today, whether it's like you did a good workout, or just kind of like you had a good day, or even doing it at the start of the day. I think that's when I was really doing it. I'm at the start of the day, I'm like, good job, like you're gonna have a great day today, and you're amazing. And you're also giving yourself those positive affirmations. And I think more than anything, you need to be kind to yourself. So definitely try this out. I thought it was like a pretty cool concept to high five yourself and start kind of appreciating yourself and your actions. So that was great. So definitely try it out and let me know if that works for you. And the second concept, not in the same book, a separate book, it's called The 5-Second Rule. Again, I don't know what I thought the book was going to be about. Like, I read the description a little. I had great reviews, and because I read the high five rule first, I was like, okay, I don't even need to read like too much into it, like the reviews. I'm just going to read this book, and surely it was really great. So, the 5 second rule is about getting yourself to do actions, when we're laying in bed and we can't get up, or we're like, okay, I really need to start my homework, I really need to do my chores, I need to wash the dishes, or I need to do this. And sometimes we just get trapped in our cozy space and we can't get up, or we can't find the motivation. I know myself, I'll always be like, oh, I'll be on the phone for like 5 minutes, and then it'll be like 30 minutes later or 1 hour later, and I'm like, shoot, I never got up. And it's when you really need that push. So the concept is to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And she talks about the science behind it. It's a really great read, and it's a really quick read as well. I listened to it on Audibles, so definitely give it a shot if you are interested in that. But I definitely enjoyed it, and it's about counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And basically what your brain is going to do is when you start to get to that 1 mark, you're not going to just like lay there and just be like, okay, it's kind of just like, okay, so let me backtrack. Your brain has basically like 5 seconds before it decides like, I don't want to do this, or it tries to talk you out of it. And I think it's like really important to know that yes, like our brain is ours, but in a sense it's not really, because it like has the power to also convince us out of things. And it's like us convincing ourselves out of things, but it's just like you have like an impulse. So you have 5 seconds before the impulse starts to kick in. So when your alarm is ringing in the morning, and if you don't get up in that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then it's going to be like your brain's going to be like, okay, how about 2 more minutes? Or how about 3 more minutes? Just like how when I'm on my phone and I'm like only 5 minutes, and then I'm just like, you know what, just 5 more minutes, just 10 more minutes and stuff like that. And we end up wasting a lot of time, and then we don't sometimes even end up doing what we were supposed to do. So if you count yourself from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and jolt and get up right when you're at that like 1 second mark, then you are taking action before you've let your brain try to convince you otherwise. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try this thing. And I have to admit, so I've tried this concept with a few different things, or a few different areas of my life, and I feel like it works better in some areas than others. So I do have to kind of give that disclaimer. I don't feel like it works in every situation. Like I might still be in bed and be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and be like, 1, I'm not getting up. Like I'm way too cozy or something like that. So it still does happen. Like for me, like the getting out of bed part is still hard. And I don't think the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 has completely gotten me there yet. But basically when I went in December, I went to vacation, and I hate like jumping into the pool the first time or getting into the cold water. And I decided to try this. I was like, you know what, let me, and I saw myself like kind of, like, oh, I'm going to jump in. Oh my God, oh my God. And then you kind of like hesitate and you push yourself back. And then you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. And then your brain starts to kind of get to you and you start to think about all these thoughts. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. So I'm like, okay, you know what? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just jump in the pool. And honestly, it was so great. I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy I did that. Usually, I'm pacing in slowly. I'm like trying to dip my feet in. It's going to take me like 30 minutes before I get my whole body in there. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And I did that a few times on vacation. I was like, you know what? Just let's not waste time. Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just going to do it. And I feel like it was so helpful in so many instances where you're like, okay, I really don't want to get trapped into this like laziness. When you beat your brain to that time clock or that countdown, then you have a higher power. You have more control of your actions. You have more control over what you're going to do. And that is just like the amazing, beautiful part of it. And I feel like I personally felt like a sense of accomplishment after getting up and actually doing it, because you feel like, oh my God, like I did it. I actually did it. I didn't waste time. I just got up and did it, whether it's getting up, doing a task, anything like that. Like it just kind of helped out. So I definitely recommend reading these 2 books. I feel like I will be reading more Mel Robbins books. So this is not sponsored, by the way. I just really like her. And she has really good energy. So she actually reads her audibles. So she has like really, really good energy that I love. And I definitely enjoyed listening to her novels. I'll be listening to more. Again, highly recommend it. So yeah, thank you for listening. Just really two cool concepts that I wanted to talk about that, I'm trying to incorporate into my life to kind of like just help better me and help better the things that I do. But thanks for listening, everybody. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I'll leave my email below in the comment section or on the podcast description. And I will also leave my Instagram and my YouTube channel. So please make sure you follow, subscribe, like, share, and all that good stuff. Thank you for listening, everyone, and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Who Would Have Thought Podcast. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please follow the link in the bio to our anonymous form. See you next time.